Hello everyone, welcome to 90-Day News Hub. Watch the full video for the latest shocking updates. 90-Day Fiancé fans, hold on to your hats because the drama between Jasmine Pina and Matt Brownie's Duranu has reached nuclear level of toxicity. You are about to witness the shocking twisted end of their relationship filled with secret meetups, ultimate betrayals, and a paternity scandal that will leave your jaw on the floor. The fairy tale is officially over, and the fallout is messier than anything we've seen on the show. What started as a rebound from Gino has erupted into a saga of lies, blocking, and a broken family. And we have all the explosive details that the cameras never caught. Get ready because this story is a roller coaster with no brakes. If you thought their tell-all fight was the peak of their chaos, you are dead wrong. That was merely the opening act. The real explosion happened off-screen in the shadows of social media and leaked text messages. We are talking about a level of distrust so deep it has shattered their world completely. Matt, the man who proposed to her, has now done the unthinkable. Sources close to the couple reveal that Matt, reeling from his own public doubts about baby Matilda's paternity, took a secret trip. But it wasn't for soul-arching or to clear his head in a healthy way. No, this was a betrayal that cuts to the very core of their already fragile trust. He allegedly flew to Romania, the home of his ex-girlfriend, Elizabeth. Yes, the very same Elizabeth he was involved with when he first started his entanglement with Jasmine. The timeline is beyond messy. It's a disaster. Imagine the nerve, the absolute audacity to question the paternity of your child and then immediately run back to the arms of an ex from your past. This isn't just a red flag, it's a whole parade of them. The question for you right now is, do you think Matt's actions are a justified response to his doubts? Or is this the ultimate cowardly move from a man who never truly wanted this family? Jasmine, of course, was not in the dark for long. The truth has a way of bubbling to the surface in these toxic relationships. Insiders say she discovered flirty, incriminating direct messages on his phone. We're talking about photos, intimate conversations, and plans for this clandestine meetup. When she confronted him, the lies unfolded in a predictable pattern. First, he denied everything. He claimed Elizabeth was just a friend, that they were only talking about old times, that Jasmine was being paranoid and controlling, but the evidence was too damning. Faced with the digital proof, Matt then switched tactics. He didn't apologize. He didn't beg for forgiveness. Instead, he reportedly admitted to the meeting and coldly stated he needed space from the drama. But here's the kicker, the twist that shows just how calculated this whole situation became. He didn't just ask for space, he weaponized it. In a preemptive strike designed to hurt and control the narrative, Matt blocked Jasmine. He blocked her on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, on every platform he could think of. He cut her off digitally before she could even process the full extent of his betrayal. This move is psychological warfare. It's a way to inflict the ultimate silent treatment, to make her feel powerless and abandoned. For a woman like Jasmine, who thrives on communication and explosive confrontations, being blocked is a special kind of torture. It leaves her screaming into a void. So, what was her response? Did she crumble? Did she beg? Well, initially, perhaps, but her final move was one of defiant, scorched earth fury. Jasmine's retaliation was swift and absolute. If Matt wanted a digital divorce, she would give him one. She fired back by blocking him on every single platform right back. But she didn't just block him and disappear into silence. Oh no! Jasmine took to her stories, the modern-day battlefield for reality star grievances. Her posts were a masterclass in cryptic hurt messaging. She shared quotes like, "All men are red flags disguised as comfort. And when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time." She posted, "I'm done trying. I gave my all. And it was never enough for a boy who wasn't ready to be a man." And the most telling one, a real father doesn't need a test. He just knows. This was her public clapback, her way of shaping the story for her loyal followers. But behind the scenes, the pain was very, very real. The facade of strength cracked in private moments. Alleged audio has even leaked of Jasmine crying hysterically to a close friend. Her voice raw with devastation, saying, "He blocked me everywhere after everything we went through after having his baby. I thought he loved me. I really believed him." This is the dichotomy of Jasmine. The fierce independent woman on the public stage and the heartbroken, betrayed mother behind closed doors. The emotional whiplash of the situation is intense. Which side of Jasmine do you believe is the real one? The defiant queen or the devastated partner? The physical separation mirrored the digital one. In a move that echoes their earlier fights, Jasmine reportedly kicked Matt out of their shared living space again. But this time, the context is infinitely more severe. It's not about misunderstanding over groceries or a rude comment. It's about fundamental betrayal and the destruction of trust. She packed his bags, or perhaps he packed them himself as he fled the fallout and he left. This happened right before the holidays, adding another layer of tragic poignancy to the mess. Instead of planning Matilda's first Christmas with both parents, Jasmine was suddenly facing the prospect of solo motherhood during a time meant for family. Her social media turned from cryptic quotes to desperate pleas for advice. She began asking her followers, "How do you co-parent with someone who doesn't want to be found?" And single mamas, "I need your strength right now." This public shift from anger to vulnerability reveals her terrifying new reality. The man she built a life with, the father of her child, has vanished into the ether of blocked accounts and secret flights. But the story doesn't end with his exit. The leaked texts tell an even sadder chapter. These purported text messages, which have been circulated among fan groups and insider channels, paint a picture of Jasmine's initial desperation. After the blocking, after the kicking out, there seems to have been a moment of panic. A text allegedly from Jasmine to Matt reads, "Please just come back. We need to talk about this for Matilda's sake. She needs her father. Don't do this to her." This is the gut-wrenching plea of a mother who is willing to potentially set aside her own monumental hurt for the perceived benefit of her daughter. It shows that beneath the drama, her primary concern is her child's stability. But Matt's alleged response, if the leaks are to be believed, was ice cold. He is said to have replied, "It's over. I'm done being dragged through your drama on TV and online. You made your bed. I'm not coming back." This exchange is the final nail in the coffin. It reframes his entire exit not just as a reaction to the paternity doubts, but as an escape from the spectacle of their relationship. Positions himself as the victim of her drama, completely sidestepping his own role in creating it through secret meetups and public paternity accusations. It's a classic tactic when caught, deflect, and blame. So, where did Matt go? The rumors are flying that he didn't just get a hotel. Sources are whispering that he has likely retreated across the border back to the safety and familiarity of Canada. The idea is that he's licking his wounds with his family, far from Jasmine's reach and the swirling gossip. But his family isn't just offering a quiet place to stay. They are reportedly fueling the fire. The involvement of Matt's family adds a whole new layer of pressure and permanence to the split. Insiders claim that Matt's mother in particular has been a vocal influence behind the scenes. She was reportedly never fully on board with the whirlwind relationship with Jasmine, seeing it as rushed and chaotic, a rebound from Gino that moved at lightning speed into a pregnancy. Now, with the paternity doubts aired publicly and Matt's subsequent implosion, her concerns have hardened into action. Rumor has it that Matt's mom is pushing him aggressively to take a legal paternity test immediately. Not a private, quiet one, but an official legally binding test. Her argument, according to these sources, is that Jasmine is too chaotic for their family, and that before Matt gets any further entangled emotionally or financially, he needs certainty. This move transforms personal doubt into a clinical legal procedure. It reduces the beautiful, complex reality of baby Matilda to a simple DNA result. For Jasmine, this is the ultimate insult. It implies that not only does Matt not trust her, but his entire family views her as potentially deceptive and unworthy. Jasmine, never one to take an insult lying down, clapped back on her social media stories, shading Matt's family without naming them directly. She posted, "Some people will never accept you no matter what you do, but my daughter deserves to know her father, and a real man would step up regardless of the noise." This is a brilliant piece of messaging. It paints her as the magnanimous mother putting her child's needs first while painting Matt and his family as petty, close-minded, and failing the basic test of parenthood. The fan reaction to this entire spiraling catastrophe has been, 90-Day Fiancé fans, brace yourselves, because this isn't regular reality TV chaos. This is a kind of off-screen meltdown that turns a messy breakup into a full-blown social media war. Tonight we're diving into the explosive fallout between Jasmine Pineda and Matt Brani's Duranu, and yes, this story is packed with rumors, alleged leaked messages, blocking sprees, and one jaw-dropping claim that changes everything, a paternity test demand. But before we go any further, quick note. This report is based on online chatter, fan speculation, and alleged screenshots and audio circulating on social media. Not everything is confirmed, and we're presenting it as claims, because that's exactly what's fueling the fire. Now with that said, if you thought their tell-all tension was the peak of their chaos, think again. That was just the trailer. The real movie started after the cameras stopped rolling. And it gets uglier by the minute. So hit like, subscribe, and comment your honest take. Do you think Matt's doubts were justified? Or did he destroy his own family the second he started playing games? Let's rewind for a second. After Jasmine's roller coaster relationship with Gino, fans watched her story take turn after turn. Emotional blow-ups, fierce independence, heartbreak, and then what looked like a new chapter. Enter Matt, a man who, depending on who you ask, was either her fresh start or her most dangerous rebound. Because when a relationship begins in the aftermath of a storm, the foundation can be shaky. And according to people claiming to be close to the situation, that foundation didn't just crack, it collapsed. The internet started buzzing when fans noticed subtle clues online, posts disappearing, follows changing, comments being limited. Then the whispers turned into loud accusations. They're done. He blocked her. She kicked him out. There's another woman. And then came the rumor that pushed this from drama to disaster. A secret trip. Allegedly, Matt took a private trip to Romania to meet his ex-girlfriend, Elizabeth, the same ex that some fans claim overlaps with the timeline of his early involvement with Jasmine. If that's true, the optics are brutal. Because imagine this, you're in a fragile relationship, you have a baby in the middle of it, and your partner isn't leaning in to build trust. He's allegedly flying overseas to revisit his past. Whether it happened exactly that way or not, the rumor alone is enough to set the internet on fire. And for Jasmine, someone known for emotional intensity and direct confrontation, this would be the ultimate betrayal trigger. Here's where it gets even darker. The paternity cloud. There have been claims online that Matt expressed doubts about baby Matilda's paternity, and that those doubts became a constant shadow over the relationship. Again, alleged. But if this is what was being said behind the scenes, it explains why everything escalated into pure toxicity. Because once paternity becomes a weapon in a relationship, it's not just about truth, it becomes about power. Who controls the narrative? Who controls the sympathy? Who controls the public story? And if you're asking someone to prove their baby is yours while still staying in the relationship, you're basically telling them, I don't trust you, I don't believe you, and I might not even respect you. That kind of accusation doesn't just sting, it rewires the entire emotional dynamic. Now let's talk about the alleged discovery that set everything off. According to chatter from fan pages and insider accounts, Jasmine reportedly found flirty, incriminating messages on Matt's phone. Allegedly, direct messages with Elizabeth. Not casual check-ins. Not, hope you're well. The claims say there were photos, intimate conversation energy, and discussion of meeting up. If true, that's not a misunderstanding. That's a betrayal with intent. And when Jasmine confronted him, the reaction allegedly followed the classic toxic cycle. Step 1, denial. Step 2, blame. Step 3, minimize. Step 4, flip the script. The story floating around is that Matt allegedly tried to frame Elizabeth as just a friend, and Jasmine as paranoid or controlling. But according to the rumor, the evidence was too strong, and the lies couldn't survive the screenshots. So then, allegedly, Matt shifted tactics. He didn't come with apology energy. He didn't come with accountability. He came with distance. I need space. That phrase sounds mature on the surface, until you see how it's used in toxic relationships. Because space can mean, I want to keep doing what I'm doing, and I don't want consequences. And then came the move that fans are calling psychological warfare, the blocking spree. Allegedly, Matt blocked Jasmine across multiple platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, anything he could use to cut her off. Think about that. This wasn't just a breakup conversation. This was a digital shutdown, a preemptive strike, a way to control what gets said, when it gets said, and how the public finds out. Because if Jasmine can't reach you, she can't confront you. If she can't tag you, she can't expose you directly. If she can't comment, she can't correct your narrative. Blocking isn't always about peace. Sometimes it's about power. And for a personality like Jasmine, someone who processes emotions through communication and confrontation, being blocked isn't silence. It's torture. It's like locking someone in a room with a megaphone that doesn't work. So what did Jasmine do? According to the online storyline, she didn't beg quietly. She hit back. Allegedly, she blocked him right back on everything. But she didn't stop there. She took the battle to the one place reality stars fight best, Instagram stories. And if you've ever watched a reality star's story spiral, you know what comes next. Cryptic quotes, indirect shots, messages that don't name names but leave zero doubt. The rumored posts included messages along the lines of, when someone shows you who they are, believe them, and I gave my all to a boy who wasn't ready to be a man. But the line that fans say hit hardest was a paternity-themed clapback. A real father doesn't need a test. He just knows. Now, whether she posted those exact words or not, the sentiment is clear. She was telling the world, if you're questioning this baby, you're not a father, you're a visitor. And that is a devastating statement, because it doesn't just attack the relationship, it attacks the identity. At this point, the breakup isn't just emotional. It's reputational. Both sides are fighting for public sympathy. And then came the most painful part of this rumor storm, alleged leaked audio. Some accounts claim there's audio of Jasmine crying to a friend, saying something like, he blocked me everywhere after everything we went through, after having his baby. I thought he loved me. I need to be careful here. I have not verified the authenticity of any audio, and neither should anyone take it as confirmed. But the fact that fans believe it exists tells you how far the story has traveled. Because once the internet thinks there's crying audio, the situation becomes a spectacle. And in that spectacle, Jasmine becomes two characters at once, the defiant queen online and the devastated mother offline. And that duality is what makes her so polarizing and so watchable. So here's the question. Which Jasmine do you believe? The fearless woman who posts quotes like bullets? Or the heartbroken partner who trusted someone and got burned? Honestly, it can be both. In real life, strength and pain can exist in the same moment. Now the digital war allegedly turned into physical separation. Rumors say Jasmine kicked Matt out of their shared living space, again. But this time it wasn't about petty arguments. It was about betrayal, trust collapse, and humiliation. If you're a new mother and your partner is allegedly entertaining an ex, especially while questioning the baby, you don't feel unsafe only emotionally. You feel unstable. Like the ground under your family is breaking. And timing matters. Allegedly, this all went down right before the holidays, which adds another layer of sadness. Because instead of planning cozy family moments, they were packing bags, slamming doors, and blocking each other like strangers. And when the dust settled, fans started asking, where is Matt now? Where is Jasmine now? Who has the baby? Who is telling the truth? And the most dangerous question of all, is a paternity test actually happening? According to some claims online, Matt wasn't just doubting privately. He allegedly wanted a formal paternity test and wanted it publicly enough that it became part of the feud. If that's true, then this isn't just relationship drama. This is a life-altering accusation. Because once you demand a paternity test, you're basically saying, I think you lied about the biggest thing possible. And there are only two outcomes. Outcome 1, the baby is his, and he destroyed the relationship for nothing. Outcome 2, the baby isn't his, and the relationship was built on a lie. Either way, trust is dead. There is no back to normal after that. So why would Matt do something like this? If we're analyzing motives, again, speculation, there are a few possibilities. 1. He genuinely had doubts based on timeline issues and couldn't get peace without proof. 2. He wanted an exit strategy and used paternity doubt as the cleanest excuse to leave while looking like the victim. 3. He was already emotionally disconnected, and the ex situation wasn't a mistake, it was a plan. In toxic relationships, people often rewrite the story in advance. They create reasons why the other person deserved what happened. Paternity doubt can become that reason. Now let's zoom in on the Romania claim, because that's the headline grabber. Allegedly, Matt flew to Romania to see Elizabeth. If true, why Romania? Because an overseas meetup isn't casual. It takes effort, planning, money, intention. You don't accidentally end up in another country for an ex. So fans are reading that rumor as proof that Matt was never fully committed, that he kept one foot in the past, that he wanted the comfort of an old connection while dealing with chaos at home. But if that's the case, he played with fire. Because Jasmine doesn't just get mad, she goes nuclear. And the internet knows it. That's why fan pages are obsessed with this story, because it has all the ingredients of a reality TV supernova. Secret meetings, leaked DMs, blocking, revenge quotes, crying audio rumors, a baby, a paternity scandal, a foreign trip, and two personalities who don't know how to quietly move on. Now, here's something important. Even if some of this is exaggerated online, the pattern is believable because it mirrors what we've seen on the show. Jasmine and her partners historically struggle with trust, insecurity, and explosive communication. And Matt, from the rumors, seems to respond to confrontation by withdrawing, then punishing through silence. That combination is gasoline. One person wants confrontation. The other person uses distance as control. That dynamic doesn't resolve. It escalates. So what happens next? According to the trend of reality TV breakups, the next phase is usually receipt season. Screenshots, DMs, friends confirming, side characters entering, someone goes live, someone does an interview, someone starts hinting at a big truth they're ready to reveal. And when a baby is involved, it becomes even more dangerous because fans start crossing lines, demanding proof, demanding timelines, demanding DNA results like it's entertainment. But the baby is not a storyline. A child isn't content. And that's why, as viewers, we can follow the drama without dehumanizing the people involved, especially the child. So I'll say this clearly. If there is a paternity question, that should be handled privately and responsibly, not as a weapon, not as a threat, not as a social media stunt. But reality TV culture often rewards the opposite, the loudest, messiest, most viral version of pain. Now I want you to imagine this from Jasmine's perspective, if the allegations are even half true. You're postpartum. You're exhausted. You're emotionally raw. And the person who promised you stability is not only doubting you, but allegedly entertaining an ex and then cutting you off with a block button like you're a stranger. That kind of betrayal doesn't just hurt. It humiliates. And Jasmine, more than anything, hates humiliation. That's why her clapbacks are always public-facing. Because in her mind, silence equals losing. So if Matt thought blocking her would create peace, he might have underestimated the storm he triggered. Because Jasmine will always find a way to speak. If not by tagging you, then by speaking around you. And the internet will decode every word like it's a secret message. So here's what we're going to do next. In part 2, we're going to break down the alleged timeline clues fans are using, the social media evidence people keep referencing, and the theories about why a paternity test became the center of this fallout. And want you to weigh in right now. Do you think this relationship was doomed from the start? Or do you think one betrayal, one trip, one block, changed everything? Comment we read. Diving deeper into the timeline clues, the social media evidence fans are obsessing over, and the psychological power game behind this breakup. Because when reality TV relationships collapse, the real story isn't just what happens, it's how the narrative is controlled. Let's start with the timeline chaos that fans can't stop analyzing. Hardcore 90-Day Fiancé viewers noticed that around the same time rumors of Matt's Romania trip started circulating, his social media behavior changed dramatically. Posts that once featured Jasmine disappeared, captions were edited, and likes and comments were suddenly limited. On Jasmine's side, her posting patterns shifted too. She went from couple content and motherhood updates to cryptic quotes, solo selfies, and emotional storytelling through music clips and captions. Fans began screenshotting everything, comparing timestamps, and building theories like detectives. And that's how the narrative started snowballing. Because in the reality TV universe, silence is suspicious and changes are evidence. Then came the alleged social media receipts. Some fan accounts claimed to have screenshots of Matt interacting with Elizabeth, including likes, follows, and flirty comments. Whether those screenshots are real or edited is impossible to confirm, but in the court of public opinion, screenshots are treated like court documents. One viral fan theory suggests that Matt reconnected with Elizabeth months before the alleged trip, slowly reigniting communication while still publicly presenting a united front with Jasmine. If that theory is true, it means the betrayal wasn't impulsive, it was strategic. And strategy is what makes betrayal feel premeditated, not emotional. That's why fans reacted so strongly to the Romania rumor. Flying overseas is not a casual impulse decision. It requires planning, scheduling, and intent. And intent is what hurts the most in relationships. But here's where the story gets even more layered: the power dynamics. In toxic relationships, people don't just fight over love, they fight over narrative control. Matt allegedly blocking Jasmine wasn't just emotional avoidance. It was a narrative move. When you block someone, you limit their ability to tag you, comment on your posts, and publicly respond to your story in real time. That gives you a head start in shaping public perception. You can post your version, your quotes, your mood, your sad boy or peaceful healing aesthetic, while the other person is locked out. For someone like Jasmine, who thrives on expressive communication and public engagement, being blocked is like being muted on a global stage. And that's why fans interpreted the block as psychological warfare. Blocking says, you don't get access to me anymore. But it also says, I control when and how you speak to me and about me. That imbalance can feel devastating, especially when you're already emotionally vulnerable. Now let's talk about the paternity test rumor in more detail, because this is the nuclear core of the story. According to online speculation, Matt didn't just privately doubt the baby's paternity, he allegedly voiced it, hinted at it, and possibly demanded proof. Whether he actually demanded a test or just expressed doubt is unclear, but even expressing doubt changes everything. Paternity is not a small issue. It's identity, responsibility, trust, and legacy. When a man questions paternity, he's not just questioning biology, he's questioning the mother's integrity. And that accusation cuts deeper than cheating allegations. Fans split instantly into camps. Some argued that if Matt had genuine timeline doubts, he had a right to clarity. Others said questioning paternity publicly or semi-publicly is one of the most humiliating accusations you can make against a partner. And when a baby is involved, the emotional stakes multiply by 1,000. There's also a theory floating around that Matt's doubts weren't purely about biology, they were about control. In some relationships, paternity doubt becomes leverage. It creates insecurity, destabilizes the partner, and shifts the power dynamic. If Jasmine had to prove the baby, she would be forced into a defensive position. That's power. And power struggles are at the center of most toxic relationships. Now let's analyze Jasmine's response strategy. Jasmine is not passive. She's media savvy, emotionally expressive, and understands how to mobilize sympathy. Her alleged cryptic posts weren't random sadness, they were narrative signals. Quotes about red flags, men not being ready to be fathers, and trusting actions over words are not just emotional, they're strategic. They allow her to tell her side without naming names, which keeps her legally safer while still shaping public opinion. And fans decode everything. Every emoji, every song lyric, every quote becomes a puzzle piece. Some fans even claim that certain songs she posted align with betrayal themes, abandonment, and revenge. Whether intentional or coincidental, the internet treats patterns as proof. Then there's the alleged crying audio rumor. Again, unverified. But its impact is real. The idea of Jasmine crying to a friend humanizes her beyond the dramatic reality TV persona. It transforms her from the explosive reality star into a vulnerable mother betrayed by her partner. That shift in perception is powerful. Because in public opinion, vulnerability often wins sympathy. Meanwhile, Matt's alleged silence and blocking can be interpreted as cold, detached, or guilty, even if that's not the full story. Now let's zoom out and talk about the broader pattern. Jasmine's relationships historically follow a cycle: intense passion, insecurity, explosive conflict, reconciliation, and then collapse. Matt's rumored pattern seems opposite: withdrawal, silence, and avoidance. When you combine someone who wants confrontation with someone who disappears, the relationship becomes a battlefield of unmet needs. One person wants answers. The other person avoids them. That gap turns into resentment, suspicion, and eventually nuclear conflict. Now add a baby, social media fame, fan pressure, and alleged ex-involvement. That's not just gasoline on the fire, that's a full fuel tanker. So what do fans think really happened? There are 3 dominant theories. Theory 1. Matt genuinely doubted paternity, felt emotionally overwhelmed, and sought comfort in a familiar ex, leading to a messy but human mistake. Theory 2. Matt was emotionally checked out, used paternity doubts as an exit strategy, and reconnected with Elizabeth as a backup plan. Theory 3. Both parties were toxic, both manipulated narratives, and the truth lies somewhere in a gray area that social media can't fully capture. The reality is probably complex. But complexity doesn't go viral. Drama does. And the internet thrives on dramatic binaries: villain versus victim, liar versus truth-teller, hero versus villain. Now let's talk about the future implications. If a paternity test actually happens and the results become public, this story will explode to another level. If Matt is confirmed as the father, he will face backlash for doubting and humiliating Jasmine. If he's not, Jasmine will face backlash for deception. Either way, the relationship is likely beyond repair. But there's also a chance that the test, if real, remains private and both parties quietly move on. But given their reality backgrounds and social media presence, quietly is unlikely. Fans also speculate that this storyline could become future TLC content. Reality TV thrives on scandal, and this saga has all the ingredients for a spin-off arc. But there's an ethical line when children are involved. A baby should never be a plot device. Now let's consider Matt's perspective for a moment, because public narratives often erase nuance. If Matt truly had doubts, he might have felt trapped, confused, and fearful. Becoming a father is a massive life shift, and doubt can spiral into anxiety. Seeking space, blocking, and retreating might have been his way of coping, even if it was emotionally damaging. That doesn't excuse betrayal, but it adds psychological context. On the flip side, Jasmine's emotional intensity can be overwhelming. Her confrontational style can escalate conflicts instead of resolving them. So both sides likely contributed to the toxicity. But toxicity doesn't make good headlines. Scandal does. And that's why this story is framed as betrayal, war, and collapse. Now here's the big question. Is this relationship truly over? In reality TV history, over often means until the next reconciliation arc. But with a baby, public accusations, alleged ex-involvement, and blocking wars, rebuilding trust would require monumental effort. And trust is the foundation of co-parenting, not just romance. Even if they never reconcile romantically, they will be connected through a child forever. That's why the stakes are so high. This isn't just a breakup. It's a family fracture. So what should viewers learn from this? 1. Social media is not reality, but it shapes reality. 2. Public relationships amplify private conflicts. 3. Paternity accusations are emotional weapons that can permanently scar relationships. 4. Blocking can be both self-protection and manipulation. And 5. In reality TV, the line between real pain and performative drama is always blurred. In Part 3, we'll break down the fan theories about Elizabeth, the alleged ex at the center of the Romania rumor, and how her presence fits into the timeline. We'll also analyze the psychological profiles of rebound relationships and why they often implode in spectacular fashion. So comment below. Do you think Matt's doubts were justified? Do you think Jasmine's reaction was justified? Or do you think this was doomed the moment it started? Right, we're diving into the most mysterious character in this saga, Elizabeth, the alleged ex in Romania, and why rebound relationships like this often explode in the most dramatic way possible. Because if this rumor is even partially true, Elizabeth isn't just a side character. She's the spark that may have lit the entire fire. Let's start with who Elizabeth is in this story. According to online chatter and fan speculation, Elizabeth is Matt's former girlfriend from Romania, someone he was involved with before or during the early overlap of his relationship with Jasmine. That overlap is what makes this story so messy. Because when timelines blur, trust disappears. Fans believe that Matt and Elizabeth never fully closed their chapter, and that emotional threads remained even after he publicly moved on with Jasmine. Whether that's true or not, the perception alone is enough to damage trust. Now here's the key psychological detail. People often return to exes during moments of emotional stress. Exes represent familiarity, comfort, and a version of life before chaos. If Matt was overwhelmed by fatherhood doubts, public scrutiny, and Jasmine's intense emotional world, reconnecting with Elizabeth could have felt like stepping back into a simpler time. But emotional comfort with an ex often becomes emotional betrayal in a current relationship. And when travel is involved, the stakes multiply. Allegedly flying to Romania to meet Elizabeth suggests intention, not nostalgia. It suggests choice. And choice is what hurts partners the most. Now let's talk about rebound psychology, because this entire relationship may have started as one. After Gino, Jasmine was emotionally raw, publicly humiliated, and craving validation. Enter Matt, a new partner, new story, new chance to rewrite the narrative. Rebound relationships often burn fast and intense. They feel like destiny, healing, and redemption. But underneath, unresolved trauma and insecurity remain. So when problems appear, they're amplified. If Matt was a rebound, he may have been emotionally unprepared for the reality of being a long-term partner and father. And if Jasmine was still carrying emotional scars, her reactions could be intensified by fear of abandonment. That combination creates a volatile bond: intense love, intense fear, intense conflict. Now let's analyze the alleged Elizabeth factor in the timeline. Some fan theories suggest Matt never fully cut ties with Elizabeth and that their communication restarted long before the alleged Romania trip. Fans claim to have seen patterns: old photos resurfacing, likes on posts, subtle comments, mutual friends' interactions. Again, none of this is confirmed. But in the digital age, Even a like can be treated like evidence. If Matt maintained emotional contact with Elizabeth while publicly building a family with Jasmine, that creates a dual life narrative. Publicly committed, privately nostalgic. That split is dangerous because it prevents full emotional investment in either relationship. And when confronted, the person often feels trapped and reacts defensively, blocking, denying, or withdrawing, which fits the alleged pattern here. Now here's the bigger question. Was Elizabeth aware of Jasmine and the baby? Fans speculate she was, but her role is unclear. Some think she was just a friend who got pulled into drama. Others believe she was a willing participant in an emotional or physical affair. But what's important is how the internet frames her. In reality TV culture, exes are often painted as villains or temptresses. But the truth is usually more complex. She could have been reconnecting with someone she once loved, unaware of the full situation. Or she could have knowingly crossed boundaries. Without confirmation, she remains a shadow in the story, mysterious, debated, and central to the rumor storm. Now let's move to the emotional aftermath. When an ex re-enters the picture, it doesn't just threaten the relationship, it threatens identity. For Jasmine, being replaced or emotionally sidelined by an ex would trigger abandonment fears and public humiliation. For Matt, returning to an ex could represent escape from pressure and responsibility. But escape often destroys what you're running from. Now let's talk about the baby factor again, because it changes everything. If Matt doubted paternity and simultaneously reconnected with an ex, the message to Jasmine would be devastating. I don't believe you, and I'm looking elsewhere. That combination is emotionally catastrophic. Even if he had legitimate doubts, the timing and method matter. Trust conversations require compassion, not flights and flirty messages. That's why fans reacted so strongly. Because the optics look brutal. Now let's analyze fan psychology. Why is this story so viral? Because it has archetypes. The betrayed mother. The doubtful father. The mysterious ex. The social media war. The paternity bombshell. It's reality TV mythology in real time. Fans project their own experiences onto the story. Some sympathize with Matt because they fear paternity fraud. Some sympathize with Jasmine because they've experienced betrayal. Some just enjoy chaos. That mix fuels endless engagement. Now let's consider how this story could evolve. There are several possible future arcs. Arc 1. Public reconciliation. Matt and Jasmine reconcile, downplay rumors, and present a united front for the baby. Arc 2. Public breakup with co-parenting. They separate romantically but collaborate as parents. Arc 3. Escalation. More receipts, interviews, screenshots, and allegations surface, turning this into a full-blown public feud. Arc 4. Silence. Both go quiet, move on privately, and the internet speculates forever. Given their personalities and reality TV history, escalation is the most likely path. Now here's the most important point. Children in reality TV drama are not props. If paternity tests, accusations, and social media wars continue, the child becomes collateral damage. Fans often forget that behind every viral scandal, there's a real baby who will grow up with this digital footprint. That's why ethical commentary matters. Now let's break down why rebound relationships implode so spectacularly. Rebounds are built on emotional need, not emotional readiness. They move fast, escalate quickly, and skip critical trust-building stages. When conflict arises, there's no foundation to hold the weight. Add fame, cameras, fans, and social media, and every crack becomes public. That's why reality TV rebounds often end in nuclear meltdowns. Now let's circle back to the key question. Who is telling the truth? Social media rarely tells the full story. Both sides curate narratives. Both sides omit details. Fans fill gaps with theories. The truth likely sits in private conversations, legal documents, and personal feelings that never reach Instagram. But that doesn't stop the internet from building a storyline. And that storyline becomes the reality for millions of viewers. Now here's your cliffhanger, for we're diving into the legal, financial, and reality TV industry consequences of a paternity scandal, and why this story might be bigger than just emotions. Because when a reality TV star demands a paternity test, it's not just personal. It's legal. It's financial. And it can change lives forever. Let's start with the legal side of paternity tests. When a father publicly questions whether a child is biologically his, it opens a legal Pandora's box. Paternity determines child support, custody rights, parental responsibility, and inheritance. If Matt truly demanded a paternity test, that's not just drama, it's a legal trigger. If he is confirmed as the father, he becomes legally responsible for child support, involvement, and long-term obligations. If he is not, everything changes. He could walk away legally, but the emotional and public fallout would be massive. Either outcome is life-altering. Now imagine this happening under the spotlight of reality TV fame. Fans, blogs, and social media would dissect every document, every timeline, every reaction. A private legal matter becomes global entertainment. That pressure alone can destroy relationships and mental health. Now let's talk about financial implications. Reality TV relationships are not just emotional. They are brands. Jasmine's image, Matt's image, endorsements, social media revenue, cameo, sponsorships, and future TV opportunities all depend on public perception. A paternity scandal can boost views but destroy trust with brands. Companies do not like controversy involving children and deception. At the same time, controversy brings clicks, and clicks bring money. That creates a dangerous incentive structure. Sometimes reality stars lean into drama because drama pays. But the cost is personal reputation and long-term stability. Now let's break down how TLC and reality TV contracts could play a role. Reality TV contracts often include clauses about confidentiality, storylines, and what cast members can publicly reveal. If Jasmine and Matt are under contract, they may be limited in what they can say. That's why we see cryptic quotes instead of direct accusations. That's why leaks often come from friends and fan accounts instead of the stars themselves. Networks also sometimes encourage dramatic story arcs, even if they are exaggerated. A paternity test storyline is reality TV gold. It guarantees headlines, engagement, and emotional investment. So fans are asking, is this real chaos or reality TV marketing chaos? The truth could be a mix of both. Now let's talk about public accusations and defamation risks. If Matt publicly accuses Jasmine of lying about paternity without proof, that could be considered defamation. If Jasmine publicly accuses Matt of cheating and betrayal without proof, that could also have legal consequences. That's why both sides often use vague language, quotes, and indirect posts. They want to influence public opinion without crossing legal lines. That's also why fan speculation fills the gaps. The internet becomes the courtroom, jury, and judge. Now let's analyze co-parenting implications. Even if Matt and Jasmine never reconcile romantically, they may need to co-parent. Co-parenting requires communication, trust, and maturity. Blocking, public accusations, and social media wars make co-parenting extremely difficult. Every post becomes ammunition. Every story becomes a message. And the child grows up with a digital archive of their parents' conflict. That's the dark side of reality TV fame. Now let's consider the possibility that this scandal is exaggerated or partially manufactured. Reality TV history is full of staged conflicts, edited narratives, and amplified drama. Producers know that fans love scandals, especially involving babies, betrayal, and exes. Sometimes conflicts are real but exaggerated for storyline purposes. Sometimes rumors are intentionally leaked to test audience reaction. Sometimes stars lean into chaos to stay relevant. So is this a real personal crisis or a storyline in the making? Probably both. But the emotional reactions, cryptic posts, and blocking behavior suggest that at least some of this is genuine. Manufactured drama rarely feels this chaotic. Now let's break down how fans influence these situations. Fans comment, DM, tag brands, tag family members, and demand answers. That pressure can push reality stars to escalate drama, defend themselves, or reveal more than they should. Fans think they're watching a show, but they're interacting with real people. That feedback loop can intensify conflicts. Now let's talk about the long-term impact on Jasmine's brand. Jasmine is known for emotional intensity, explosive reactions, and dramatic storytelling. This scandal reinforces that brand. Some fans will sympathize, others will criticize, but everyone will talk. That's visibility. For Matt, the narrative could be more damaging. Being seen as doubting paternity, reconnecting with an ex, and blocking the mother of his child can damage his public image severely. Even if he had legitimate doubts, optics matter. And optics in reality TV are everything. Now let's analyze motives again, but from a strategic angle. Why would someone bring paternity doubts into the public sphere? One reason: legal clarity. Another: emotional truth. Another: narrative control. Another: exit strategy. If Matt wanted to exit the relationship while appearing rational, paternity doubt is a powerful justification. If Jasmine wanted to frame him as a villain, public quotes about real fathers are powerful counter-narratives. Both sides are building stories, and stories shape reality. Now let's talk about the child again, because this is the ethical center of the entire saga. Babies are not storylines. Babies are not proof points. Babies are not weapons. But in reality TV culture, children often become symbols. That's dangerous. This child deserves privacy, stability, and protection from online speculation. Fans should remember that behind every viral scandal, there's a real family dealing with real consequences. Now let's explore the possibility of legal battles. If paternity is disputed, legal filings, court proceedings, and DNA tests could happen. If custody disputes arise, courts will consider stability, parental behavior, and public conduct. Social media wars can be used as evidence in custody cases. That's why public behavior matters legally, not just socially. If this escalates legally, everything posted online could be scrutinized by lawyers and judges. Now here's the twist. Reality TV stars often underestimate the permanence of digital footprints. Screenshots last forever. Quotes get archived. Stories get saved. That digital history can resurface in courtrooms, contracts, and documentaries. Now let's predict the next chapter. Based on reality TV patterns, the next phase could include interviews, live streams, leaked screenshots, and My Truth videos. Someone will claim they're finally ready to tell the truth. Someone will release receipts. Someone will accuse the other of lying. Fans will pick sides. Blogs will write headlines. YouTube channels will explode. And the cycle will continue. But behind all of that, two people and a child will be living with the consequences. So what's the real lesson? Love under the spotlight is fragile. Trust under the spotlight is rare. And drama under the spotlight is profitable, but costly. In Part 5, we're going to break down potential outcomes, reconciliation scenarios, and worst-case scenarios for Jasmine and Matt. We'll analyze how reality TV couples have handled similar scandals in the past and what history tells us about where the story might go. So stay tuned. Comment below. Do you think this scandal will end in court, reconciliation, or silence? Do you think reality TV amplifies real pain for profit? And do you think fans should step back when children are involved? Write your opinion in the comments and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the internet from building a storyline, and that storyline becomes the reality for millions of viewers. Now here's your cliffhanger, for we're diving into the legal, financial, and reality TV industry consequences of a paternity scandal, and why this story might be bigger than just emotions. Because when a reality TV star demands a paternity test, it's not just personal. It's legal. It's financial. And it can change lives forever. Let's start with the legal side of paternity tests. When a father publicly questions whether a child is biologically his, it opens a legal Pandora's box. Paternity determines child support, custody rights, parental responsibility, and inheritance. If Matt truly demanded a paternity test, that's not just drama, it's a legal trigger. If he is confirmed as the father, he becomes legally responsible for child support, involvement, and long-term obligations. If he is not, everything changes. He could walk away legally, but the emotional and public fallout would be massive. Either outcome is life-altering. Now imagine this happening under the spotlight of reality TV fame. Fans, blogs, and social media would dissect every document, every timeline, every reaction. A private legal matter becomes global entertainment. That pressure alone can destroy relationships and mental health. Now let's talk about financial implications. Reality TV relationships are not just emotional. They are brands. Jasmine's image, Matt's image, endorsements, social media revenue, cameo, sponsorships, and future TV opportunities all depend on public perception. A paternity scandal can boost views but destroy trust with brands. Companies do not like controversy involving children and deception. At the same time, controversy brings clicks, and clicks bring money. That creates a dangerous incentive structure. Sometimes reality stars lean into drama because drama pays. But the cost is personal reputation and long-term stability. Now let's break down how TLC and reality TV contracts could play a role. Reality TV contracts often include clauses about confidentiality, storylines, and what cast members can publicly reveal. If Jasmine and Matt are under contract, they may be limited in what they can say. That's why we see cryptic quotes instead of direct accusations. That's why leaks often come from friends and fan accounts instead of the stars themselves. Networks also sometimes encourage dramatic story arcs, even if they are exaggerated. A paternity test storyline is reality TV gold. It guarantees headlines, engagement, and emotional investment. So fans are asking, is this real chaos or reality TV marketing chaos? The truth could be a mix of both. Now let's talk about public accusations and defamation risks. If Matt publicly accuses Jasmine of lying about paternity without proof, that could be considered defamation. If Jasmine publicly accuses Matt of cheating and betrayal without proof, that could also have legal consequences. That's why both sides often use vague language, quotes, and indirect posts. They want to influence public opinion without crossing legal lines. That's also why fan speculation fills the gaps. The internet becomes the courtroom, jury, and judge. Now let's analyze co-parenting implications. Even if Matt and Jasmine never reconcile romantically, they may need to co-parent. Co-parenting requires communication, trust, and maturity. Blocking, public accusations, and social media wars make co-parenting extremely difficult. Every post becomes ammunition. Every story becomes a message. And the child grows up with a digital archive of their parents' conflict. That's the dark side of reality TV fame. Now let's consider the possibility that this scandal is exaggerated or partially manufactured. Reality TV history is full of staged conflicts, edited narratives, and amplified drama. Producers know that fans love scandals, especially involving babies, betrayal, and exes. Sometimes conflicts are real but exaggerated for storyline purposes. Sometimes rumors are intentionally leaked to test audience reaction. Sometimes stars lean into chaos to stay relevant. So is this a real personal crisis or a storyline in the making? Probably both. But the emotional reactions, cryptic posts, and blocking behavior suggest that at least some of this is genuine. Manufactured drama rarely feels this chaotic. Now let's break down how fans influence these situations. Fans comment, DM, tag brands, tag family members, and demand answers.